Tomorrow night, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump go face-to-face in their first presidential debate.
Yeah, it could be one of the most watched events in TV history. With these two candidates, also anything can happen. CBS News political director John Dickerson joins us. John, thanks so much for joining us today.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know, this is going to be the most anticipated presidential debate ever, perhaps, possibly 100 million people watching, a lot at stake here. What should we expect to see tomorrow night?
Well, I think you should expect to see a lot of activity in the first 10 or 15 minutes, because both campaigns know that in the modern age with Twitter and social media, there will be a lot of conversation going on even while the debate itself is going on. And in some ways, that conversation can get locked in. Narratives about the debate can get locked in before the debate is even halfway over. It may be a regrettable thing. People should watch all 90 minutes and make their own judgments and conclusions. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of people don't pay full attention to the debates. So the campaigns prepare for that. So there will be set pieces, there will be lines that each will try to get across early to control that first narrative about the debate, because sometimes that first narrative becomes the ending narrative in the end, no matter what happens in the rest of the debate.
All right, John, you obviously have interviewed these candidates. You know the campaign staffs well. What are the staffers telling these candidates not to do? What to avoid?
Well, it's complicated because you don't want to say so much what not to do, because sometimes when you tell a candidate, don't say X or Y, all that the candidate can keep in their head is X and Y, and they end up in fact saying it. So I think what the two objectives for the two candidates are: Hillary Clinton has to do a couple of things. She has to convey to her supporters why they should vote for her. Actually, in debates, what ends up happening is partisans end up getting more partisan when they watch. So it's an opportunity for a candidate to build enthusiasm for their own supporters who are coming just to see their team do well during the debate. So that's one job. The other job will be Hillary Clinton will have to fact check in real time Donald Trump. He provides more, or has so far in this campaign, provides more opportunities for fact-checking, just in the sheer number of things that he says. But I think then also she'll have to kind of come across to those few independent or voters who haven't made up their minds. She'll have to offer something compelling, and that's a little bit different than the stereotype about her. On Donald Trump's side, he has to basically look like somebody who could be president, who the debate is the most formal format, really, the candidates participate in through the long campaign. And if he can inhabit the posture that we expect in debates, be less like the man who shows up at his big rallies, then a lot of those voters who think he would be a risky president may reevaluate their choice. And so for him, it's actually a little bit easier thing to do, which is basically give answers, act respectfully, and show that for 90 minutes he can inhabit the role, the more traditional role of a candidate, since he has done so many untraditional things so far this campaign.
John, you bring up a really interesting point about fact-checking. You've done this before. You've moderated a debate. Should this moderator also be a fact-checker?
It's a tough line to walk. Debates are not the same as interviews. In an interview, you want to fact-check and you want to push back. In a debate, you want to get the two candidates to exchange and interact between each other. So a moderator doesn't want to get so involved in the debate that they end up being a part of the story. On the other hand, they have to have a level playing field in which both candidates are operating on the same facts, in which one candidate doesn't make so many assertions, so many attacks on their opponent, that the opponent spends all their time just trying to beat back those attacks and never gets a chance to actually put forward what they believe in. So a moderator has to make sure that that balance is right, that they're on a level playing field, and that can mean asserting themselves into the conversation sometimes. So it's a very tricky thing. You got to do it a little, but not so much that you become the story.
All right. Well, John Dickerson, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us, the host of Face the Nation and CBS political director. Thank you. And of course, you can watch CBS's News live coverage of the debate tomorrow night, starting at 8 o'clock right here on WCCO.
Well, what do you think? I mean, what are you looking for?
I think the reason that they're expecting 100 million people, Super Bowl-like figures in terms of this audience, is because the the potential for train wreck is so high on both sides, Pat.
You're right.
That I think that's what's going on here. This is going to be entertainment at the highest level.
So Donald Trump has the demeanor of a brawler in a debate, and Hillary Clinton, a prosecutor, a lawyer. There's also this prospect of having Jennifer Flowers sitting in the front row. For those who don't remember, she is the one who was a lover of Bill Clinton.
The alleged
back
lover,
in the
shall we say?
Yes,
anyway,
so,
and Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. So what does that do? I mean, this has the potential of being a chair throwing across the stage here.
Right. I also think you have to watch for the unspoken moments. In debates going back decades here, it's the moment, the sigh, that two-shot, the observance, looking at the other person, looking at your watch. I think those moments will happen here, and I think it's going to hurt potentially both of them.
Yeah, and Donald Trump is famous for that. Just everything he did. You could put together a reel of all of the Donald Trump facial expressions, just rolling his eyes. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. So when it comes down to it, is this debate going to be about policy, or is it going to be about political attacks?
I think it's going to be political attacks front and center, and I think it's also going to be to see which candidate can avoid being the most arrogant or condescending, because I think they could each get in trouble over that.
Well, I can't wait to watch this.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we'll be